Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? There's been this conversation here about if and or when to go back to Jameis Winston. Look, you played the position, played it obviously professionally. How does that conversation and decision go about when you make the decision, or if you make the decision to go back to Jameis?
Well, the first question, if you're sitting in a staff meeting room and coaches and they're asking it, you got to say still who they believe gave them the best chance to win when the season started. It was obviously Winston. It's not like they're tied to him for some $25 or $30 million contract that they had to start him for money. You know, they believed he had the biggest upside. That's where it starts, and that's just the bottom line. Now, he gets hurt. I do believe we've seen it. Kurt Warner, Tom Brady. You can sure as heck lose your job to injury. I mean, it happens. But then the question you ask yourself: has Andy Dalton, who is been a long-time starter, as we know, and a really, really reliable backup, but has he done enough that when Jameis, whenever they see he's pronounced fit to go, has he done enough to say, when we line up every Sunday in an NFC that, quite frankly, is average, who gives us a better chance to not only do the things that we do within on schedule and what we're best at, but who gives us the best chance to not only to protect that, but also when we need extra plays to be made, who does it judiciously and properly and gives the best chance to win? That's the decision they'll have to make. You know, they're going to evaluate self-evaluate, you self-scout, and you go about it. Has Andy done enough before Jameis was hurt, and did Jameis do enough, or had it continued without Jameis being banged up, would he have kept the job if they lost a game or two more? And is Andy Dalton, or does it just come down to wins? This isn't a situation like you go from Prescott to Cooper Rush, who wins 4 games and loses 1, go back to Prescott. You knew that was inevitable. Money, where they were drafted, all those things. And quite frankly, Kellen Moore can expand his offense more. The question here is, who's going to give you a chance to expand the offense but play it smart, yet be good enough to take chances when necessary? The key also is that who's going to give you the chance in an NFC, as I said, that's average, where you don't have to win 14 games to get to the playoffs,
right,
or win a division. So, or even be other than Philadelphia, be a team that's playing at home or on a bye. So the evaluation is going to come from them, but that's how you evaluate it. I'm not in the feel-good business, Matt. If I'm a coach, I care about my players, but I care about 53 of them or 60 of them, however many people are in the building, and it's not who the guy started. It's who now, after this, gives you the best chance to win. Now, if they'd have been undefeated when Jameis got hurt and Andy's played like he had, you would go back to Jameis Winston. That wasn't the case. The question is, moving forward, who can get us to the playoffs? It's that simple.
Is there any consideration of the future, Sean? What I mean is, the way I've said is, we all know Andy Dalton isn't the Saints franchise for the next half decade.
Yep.
So Jameis, I'm not saying he is, but he could be. And at some point, you need to find out. Yep. Is that part of the consideration as well?
Should be. Matt, if you and I were sitting in the meeting room, for me, that's a big part of it. Now, of course, you and I and coaches, I wouldn't think want to, let's just pass on the season. We're going to take one for the team this year. Coaches don't think that way. They're never thinking about, well, now maybe ownership or certain front office people are. Dennis Allen's not thinking, well, we'll take a pass on this season. I'll see you in 2023, because you know how that is. Some of those can be short-lived if people get mad enough, right? So with that, I'm with you. So, and let's face facts. Andy isn't the future franchise quarterback for them. Andy's in the tail end of his career, could start and give you some things that give you a chance to win, but he's not going to be the quarterback 5 years from now. The question is, we don't know if Jameis is, but we've seen flashes that he can be, and we've also seen flashes that say we got to go get somebody else. Mm-hmm. But we don't know. I don't like hovering in purgatory, and I think the Saints are there with him. So, yes, if one's overwhelmingly, better play him. But if it's equal, then that's when what you're talking about, Matty, are close. Even if Andy, let's say it was 60, it was, 55, 45% in your head. You're doing the numbers and analytics. Mm-hmm. And then that Andy was the guy that, well, we're going to stick with him. But you said, but we're building a foundation for the future. We got to find out if we're going to give this guy a long-term deal and he's a franchise quarterback, meaning Jameis, or if you already know that that's not the plan, well, the decision then just comes down to who can give you a better chance to win in 2022, right? So, yes, if I'm front office, head coach, all those come into play. And if it's close, 6 and 1, half dozen the other, in their mind in the meeting room, then to me, the trump card or the deciding factor could very simply be who are we considering to be our franchise quarterback, or at least could still be on this roster in 2025?
Yeah.
And Jameis is the obvious thought process there.
I'm going to ask you a question that I haven't prepped you on, so you may not have a readily available answer, which is fine, but the Saints are 2-4.
Yep.
The Bucs and the Falcons lead the division at 3-3. Saints have major flaws. That's undeniable right now, but they're a game back.
Yep.
Without looking at the schedules, how realistic is it that the Saints could actually win this division? Because that's their only path to the playoffs, clearly.
Very. Very. As you know, when we started the season, I felt that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the best team, even with the offensive line situation. And then, the Godwin coming back, I still felt like they were the best, and that Brady was good enough to overcome a bad offense. When I say bad, an average offensive line is trying to get better with injuries and retirements and those things. So with that, I still felt they were the best. But I've seen cracks in this, Matty. And like Green Bay, like the Rams, those are 3 teams in the NFC. They're just guys right now. Now, when I say that, all 3 of them have quarterbacks that aren't just guys, right? But they're proving that they're a little bit mortal, right, at times. And with Brady in the case, you could see the frustration. I know the off-the-field, family stuff he's going through, and that's hard to compartmentalize. Hell, he's been doing, been so focused on football. That's got to be hard to do for anybody who goes through it, and you don't wish that on anybody. So, but I see signs offensively to tell me they're a ways away. Now, they can turn it around. We saw it in their Super Bowl win year when Kansas City was kicking their rear end, and they came back in the second half, and it shifted on a dime.
Yeah.
We've seen Rodgers shift on a dime. But the problem with Green Bay is that the problem with Tampa, they can do this if they find their identity, which I think offensively this year they're still looking for. Atlanta's right now, Atlanta's playing as energetic and is better than any team in the division, and one of the fun surprises in the league. My question is, can they sustain it? And I'm proud of Mariota. You're damn right they can. If you'd have told me what the record with the Saints at this point in time, with an injury to the quarterback, before the season started, we were going to be staring at that. I said, what a disappointment. No way Saints make the playoffs. But looking at the landscape, not only the NFC, but in the South, absolutely. Listen, think about it, Matty. You go and win 3 in a row, and you get a loss, or Atlanta's going to lose plenty more. We know that Tampa's going to get beat a time or two, and you're right back at it. And you're exactly right. It's probably going to be one, and you're going to have to win the division. It's ironic, but when you're playing the way they're playing and still not out of it, you're damn right they can, because the strength in the division right now is not offense. It's defenses for the most part.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.